How are you? Once again, we are here with the Beyond the Walls podcast. I'm Pastor Elizabeth, and I'm here with my awesome husband,
Joel.
And we want to talk a little bit about what this season is about and what the Christmas festivities should really entail. So I want to be asking questions on what do we think it is, whether or not this season, if you feel, has become diluted or not. What is the point of Christmas? And also, has there been a decline in our fervor in expressing what Christmas is really about? So from my point of view, I can share that I believe Christmas is really a time of giving. It's a time of showing generosity. It's a time of paying it forward. It's a time of giving back to people who don't have or are in need, and exhibiting that genuine love of Jesus Christ. I mean, that to me is the true meaning of Christmas, because it sums up who Christ is. And if the name Christ is in the name Christmas, which is the holiday that we celebrate, then it really should be us mimicking whatever he did on earth in order for us to truly exhibit what Christmas is. What do you think about that?
I mean, Christmas to me, I think over the years has lost a lot of its value, not because Christ has lost value, but because society in general has watered it down. It's gone from being something where people recognize the birth of our Savior to being something where people are just trying to boost the economy. So for me today, for the most part, and I'm not just talking about in the world, you see a lot of people get things twisted. They think that when we're talking about certain topics in these podcasts that we're talking about the world and shame on the world. Shame on the church, because the church is probably the first to fail at these things. Yeah. So I feel like the church or humanity in general has really taken the reason of the season out of the season. And instead of focusing in on the birth of Christ and what he represents to us, we've gone to a point where all we do is think about, when it comes to Christmas, all we're thinking about is the gifts that we have to give, the gifts that we're going to get, and the food we're going to eat.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the points that we're going to be talking about, how it gets commercialized. But a way that we can, going back to expressing, I'm going to give a few ways in which I think that maybe Christmas can be exhibited. Maybe you can share some of yours. But I believe that if it's a time of giving, right? And as you said, we've commercialized it. It's become something more tangible that we go and we buy gifts or whatnot. But I believe that a form that can be used in efforts to show that gratitude and giving towards others is through acts of service, is through showing kindness, it's through showing affirmations, is through giving, it's to showing love towards others, showing that unconditional love of Christ. It's being able to represent God in a positive way, because honestly, during the course of the decades, in these past decades that has passed, it almost seems like Christmas has become more and more diluted into a form of just it being commercialized and it just being about giving tangible gifts. But there can be so much more. What can you share? What do you think can be a form in which we can share Christmas?
I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I understand the direction you're coming at with regards to acts of service and to help those that are in need and all that, and that's great. But, you know, my perspective is slightly different. I really think that Christmas is supposed to be focusing in on what he did. The fact that he came down from heaven when he didn't have to. You know, he didn't owe anyone anything. He didn't have to come to this earth. He didn't have to die on the cross. He didn't have to be born. He was in the comforts of heaven, and he had zero reason to come here except for us. So for me, Christmas is really about him. It's about the sacrifice. It's about the influence. It's about the decision that he made, that concentrated, concerted decision to say, I'm going to go and I'm going to plant myself on this earth to show them that the law can be completed and that I will go further and pay their debt. That's what Christmas is to me.
No, I mean, that Christ is the reason for the season.
Amen.
You know, that's definitely some of the points that I wanted to talk about further down. But, you know, in showing Christmas, so I know that's what it means to you. That's what it means to all of us. That's what Christmas is. But it's really, what are ways in which we can show, because in us showing love, in us showing gratitude, in us putting ourselves out there, that's the way we're showing Christ. Because we can say, yes, Christmas is about Jesus Christ. It is. But I think that people have also become tired of just hearing, let's say, Christians, or just hearing people talk the talk and say nice things. I believe that there comes a time in life, in society, that people want to see me exhibit the love of Christ, exhibit what he did on the earth, because I do believe that actions do speak louder than words. So how can we show this generation what Christmas is all about? Doing what? And some of the examples that I had said is paying it forward, doing things for people, showing kindness, showing love, affirming somebody, cheering somebody on. I believe that those are some of the ways in which we can spread good cheer and generosity onto mankind, and letting us understand that Christmas is not just about gift giving, because that is what has become the status quo in this day and age. And the reality of the matter is, Jesus Christ wasn't even born on December 25th. If you really want to get into the factual parts about this, nobody knows what day Jesus Christ was born. Nobody has an idea of when that was. We just know that he was born. But it is a time where Christians observe the fact that he was born. And therefore, it's something so important to be able to acknowledge. I do know that in different denominations, there is a lot of people that come in and there's a lot of tit for tat, or there's a lot of people arguing about the matter of should we even celebrate this? It comes from paganism. It comes from this. It comes from that. But I think that a lot of times that's just religiousness. What do you think?
I think it's the stupidest thing. No offense if we're talking about your personal scenario, but it's just so stupid how the church gets caught up on so much stupidity. I mean, guys and girls, get over it. Really, get over it. I mean, I've had so many experiences with Christians that are just so caught up on wording, so caught up on action, so caught up on things that sometimes it just makes your head spin, and you really ask yourself, why are we doing this? We have just completely lost touch with the reason that we do things.
Right.
And who cares if you put up a Christmas tree? It's a pagan thought, it's a pagan concept. Yes, congratulations, it is. You're right. But at the end of the day, is it really hurting you?
Right.
I mean, are you doing it for the same reason the pagans did it way back when? I mean, there's so many holidays like that. It's like, you just got to get over it. We got to get past certain things that people get so tied up with that we really just disconnect completely from the heart of God. Because God was not religious. He was quite the opposite. Every time you read scripture, you see how people would wash their hands and he wouldn't.
Right.
You see how he would say, why are you hanging out with these people and not with the Pharisees and Sadducees? He wouldn't do all the religious things. So why are we stuck on this religious stuff?
And that's what I'm saying. I think that we just get caught up on the letter of the law, and then we forget the value of what Christmas is all about. What is Christmas about? It's about being with our families. It's about sharing a meal. It's about inviting someone that doesn't have family and doesn't have somewhere to go. It's about being able to share in these pretty traditions. My family and I, we come together every Black Friday and we put together, we take away all of the Thanksgiving ornaments and we bring out all of the Christmas things, and it's become hot cocoa and it's become a beautiful tradition. But if we didn't have a tree to put up, then guess what? I wouldn't have that time that I could be spending with them, because I'm caught up on all of these different things. And at the end of the day, it's all about fellowship. It's all about coming together, sharing, loving, doing things together. And if we see that that's the value behind it, where we can show and express love through these different things, I think that that's where the value is really in celebrating this Christmas. And I know that in the past decades, there has also been a decline in the reverence towards the deity and into what Christ is, because now we're coming away from this celebrating with our families and doing all of this awesome stuff. There's also this issue. This is the other topic I wanted to talk about within the same topic, is now Christmas can't even be called Christmas. You can't say to somebody, Merry Christmas. Many people take offense to that. What do you think about that?
I mean, don't even start me there, because I think from that we'll just go into so many other topics.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Christmas never stopped being Christmas. Christ is still the center of the word. He's the center of everything. It's all about Christ.
It is all about Christ. About 90% of Americans, just so that we know, and 95% of Christians celebrate Christmas. That's a huge percentage in America. 90% of Americans and 95% of Christians celebrate Christmas. And in this new Pew Research Center survey, it's saying that today 46% of Americans say that they celebrate Christmas as primarily as religious. Only 46%. Down even more, 51%. That was in 2013. There's a decline happening. There's a decline in the fact that people are no longer celebrating it for what it is, which is a Christian celebration to commemorate and to remember the birth of Jesus Christ. As the generations progress, as the decades continue, it's going to become less and less and less until you and I, people of God, the church, stand up and have a voice once again and say to someone, Merry Christmas. Let's get our voice back. Let's be the church. Let's put Christ back in Christmas. And let's be able to say to one another, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.